Back during Never Ending Night, we had a very smart friend called Lewis, and I think he was ahead of his time. He helped us with marketing. And he was telling us that Never Ending Night didn't have a gameplay. And we were like, what does gameplay actually mean? You can walk around, you can jump around, what does that mean? And now that we're working on Brave Eduardo's final demo, we kind of get the feeling that we know what it is. And to us, gameplay is system. Now for Brave Eduardo, one of the biggest change for this demo, which is the main point of this video, is saving. You can now save only when you go into an inn and you pay the hotel clerk for the night, or if you find a hollow tree outside in the wild. And if you go out without saving and you die, your items that you have picked up will not be saved. And I think this adds a big chunk of danger and risk to the exploration. But to us, we feel like if there's no risk, there's no adventure. So there has to be something that comes with it. Speaking of risk, we've also added that when enemies hit you, you will take a small amount of pain, which is a reduction of your maximum health. There is a limit to how much it can reduce, but you will have to be extra careful when you're fighting. And to complement this, we've also drastically reduced the enemy attack speed, and they very clearly telegraph, at least in our opinion, very clearly telegraph their attacks. So now when you get hit, it's most likely a problem on your side. To kind of mitigate some of the stress of exploring, we've also drastically reduced the amount of enemies in the outside in the open world. You will find it less likely to be ambushed by enemy spids or coming up with a spids camp or whatever. When you're exploring, there will be more puzzle-based stuff, but there won't be that many enemies to reduce the risk. However, we did move all the enemies into dungeons, caves, and forts. If you come across a tower, most likely there are a lot of enemies in there, and we're coining this the CDR, Crazy Droove rule. Every single chest in the game now will be guarded by a boss or some sort of story thing. So now when you go into a chest, if you see a conspicuous fort, you go in, there will be enemies, and if you got all the way to the boss and you beat the boss, you'll get the boss drop and you'll get the chest drop. Where, like we said, if we add the risk into the game, you'll also have to be rewarded for it. Now finally, you will not likely to come upon a scythe edge immediately from a boss drop or a chest drop. Now we have fully focused on making players gather materials to go to a trader to trade for certain items. And we've also made it so, since there are so many new bosses now, you can equip, if you can't beat a boss in this way, you can go out, find different scythe abilities, come back with this upgraded scythe ability and try your luck again. Finally, another big addition to our game system is the status change, which means if certain enemies or a player takes a certain status effect, such as let's say you get burned, certain enemies will now get stronger if they get burned or weaker if they get burned. So this new system allows us to add a lot of affinity towards a certain element. So I think element has slowly crept up and became more and more important in Brave Eduardo. If you fight an enemy that's burning with fire, chances are you probably don't want to fight him with a fire weapon, because you'll probably power him up or do very, very little damage. There's a lot coming to Brave Eduardo's demo, and although it's focused on gameplay, there's still a good amount of story. Most notably, the refugee camp outside of the Stake City is going to be a big deal in the demo. You will be able to see and get a glimpse into the socio-political dynamics of Brave Eduardo, which is a big focus of the story, and you'll be able to see how the world is built. I think that's quite a big deal. I think you guys will enjoy it. I've been doing a lot more shorts because I'm trying to cut down the time working on anything but the game, but I think we are heading in the right direction. I hope Gamera Games like what we're going for, because we certainly like it a lot. And for those who visited us during PAX East or got your hands on our previous demo, I think you guys are in for a treat. See you guys next week. Bye.
Be brave, young cub. Brave Eduardo.